Yes, just make sure you bring over the papers for our last patient. They're the ones with antisocial personality disorder, as well as other comorbid diagnosis. Yes, of course, yes. I'm with the patient at the moment. I'll have to call you back. Okay, thank you. Hello, thank you for coming in for your intake. It's very good that you come in. It's very important that you make sure you're very healthy mentally and stable and doing very good. So today I'm going to be administering a psych evaluation for you. We're going to see what's going on. I was referred to by your therapist, correct? All right, so let's go ahead and make sure everything is as good as it's supposed to look like on our system. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. It is imperative for you to answer with full honesty and as much clarity as possible. So I get everything down, right? I'm going to be taking notes as well as putting things into our system. So I think that's all. Do you have any questions for me before we begin? Okay, perfect. So let's start off. It's very good to see you. Okay. Number one question I have for you today. So how are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10 today? Like, how's your day going so far? Okay. And how's your week been? Has your week been pretty much the same? If you can, give me a scale. Okay. That's very good. Just want to get a ballpark of, how things are going currently in your day-to-day life. So, have you ever had a period where you felt down, and not just for a week or two, but, a little bit more than that, a little longer? All right. Now, would you say that's, let's say 1 to 10? How from not as often to every day? Okay, and that's for the last 3 weeks, right? Okay. Excuse me, just need a little bit of water real quick. Okay, next question for you today. Along with that, so did you find that you had no energy or no interest of doing these things, your day-to-day livelihood, or that it was harder to do so and harder to function? Yes. Okay. Okay, that's good so far. Next, have you ever felt chronically down or low, low to the point where you were not able to function in maybe the past few years, not just a couple of months or weeks? Okay, and how many years would you say that would be? 2, 3, just a ballpark estimate. It doesn't have to be super accurate. Okay. All right. Would you like any water or anything at the moment? Okay. If you need any water or something like that, or bathroom break, just let me know. Okay, next question. Would you describe yourself as a chronic worrier, or where others will say you can't seem to stop worrying about things, maybe overthinking things to the point where you're a bit restless. Okay. All right. Now, would that be like your daily type of situation you go through, or would it be maybe if there's a test coming up or something you have on the way coming 4 days from now or something like that? Okay, I see. Now, when this happens, do you worry about anything and everything as opposed to just one or two things? Like, everything that you're thinking of, maybe like a domino effect. If I do this, it's gonna happen, that's gonna happen, and it just, kind of snowballs. Okay. So, how long has that been going on for you? Like, the worrying, the excess thinking. Wait, can you repeat that last part? I'm sorry. Yes, okay. Okay, next up. Do you have any family members? Older, younger siblings, mother, father, things like that? Okay, how many? Okay, are you older, younger, middle? And would you say you get along with them? Like, how's your relationship look with your family members? Okay. So, with your parents, are you close to your parents? Okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, next few questions I have. Let's see. Okay, so do you ever experience any unusual things that may not be present, like hearing voices or someone calling your name, or maybe even seeing something out the corner of your eye from time to time, even if you're not, even if you've slept and you're fully awake, or, not just sleep deprived? Okay. Yes. And that's, typically like everyday thing, or just, whenever you kind of notice it? Now, do you ever have any unusual ideas? Maybe feeling that the TV or radio or your phone has special messages to you, or when you come across something on like your algorithm, your page, that something's tailored just for you? Okay. Now, do you ever feel like you have any special feeling that you're just set apart from everyone else? You're different. Maybe there are certain abilities or powers you may have that no one else does, or intelligence, or some sort of clairvoyance. Okay. Okay, now next Give me a moment, please. Let me see here. Checking the system. All right. Now, the next question I have for you is a bit different, but like from the previous ones we've been just going over. But to the best of your ability, try to explain it in whatever way makes sense to you, and I'll take some notes and we'll talk about it. So, do you think, or do you find it hard to stop thinking about very difficult events that have happened to you? Very serious events. Maybe you just keep ruminating over them, even if they happened years and years ago. Maybe even when you were a child. And how often would that be? Every day, every other day? Okay. Now, do you find it that you may have nightmares that are related to any of these events? Maybe it keeps you up at night, or maybe even in the daytime you think of it and it kind of makes you unsettled. I see. Now, when something happens that reminds you of any of these moments that you think of, do you get a physical, mental type of feeling or surge of feelings in the moment that could be overwhelming or, bother you maybe for a couple of minutes, so maybe an hour? All right. So it triggers you, right? Okay. Now, would you say that's to the point where it's hard to function for however long it's bothering you? Okay. So on a scale of not at all to all the time, do you ever have any thoughts that you are not worthy, or maybe you're a burden to others? And would you say these thoughts come with other sort of feelings, like maybe you feel a little more critical of yourself? Maybe you're not as pleased with yourself, or you're disappointed in yourself, or any of these things. Maybe you feel like you're lacking in something. Okay. Yes, that counts. Alright, now, do you ever have any thoughts or feelings of wanting to, inflict your own personal wounds onto yourself or others per se? Okay. On a scale of not at all, sometimes, all the time. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. We're here to help. Whatever you say here is in confidence. Just shared with just me. Because, we wouldn't want to prescribe you with the wrong, guide sheets of what to work on, or, when I go run these back by your therapist, and as well as figuring out what medications might be for you. Have to make sure they're good enough and accurate enough. So it does the job, Gotta make sure you are okay, healthy, Okay, next. Just like the last, these are a bit different. Do you feel you are still searching for your sense of who you are, like your self-identity? Maybe you come across people you find interesting, or maybe friends or intimate partners, and you sort of take on their identity. You start taking on their interest as if they were your own. And it changes ever so often. Okay. And by the sense of who you are, the self-identity, I mean, do you have a set of values that's, does anything stay constant to you over time that you can pinpoint as yourself? And it's not so much so as like aesthetics or interests, like things that are inherently you, that no matter who you come across, it stays the same. Maybe they could be boundaries or morals or ethics. Okay. All right. And next, do you have any long-term feelings of sadness or long-term feelings of anger? Of things like that. Yes. And how long would you say you feel these things? They can span as long as you can remember. Okay. And do you find that your relationships usually get very difficult and end abruptly? Maybe there's like a pattern in relationships, right? You are with someone for 3 months, it ends. Maybe 6 months, it ends, and back to 3 months. Maybe a little cycle or repetition of some sort. Okay. And have you ever had any episodes where you not so much wanted to cease things from continuing, but maybe you're just so emotional, you decided to take the emotions out on yourself, maybe physically, mentally? Okay. And these would be like in small fits of anger, sadness, maybe betrayal, hurt, trust, anything? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Now, do you often feel empty inside, like a sense of there's nothing inside that holds you, grounds you, anchors you? You just feel kind of gray all the time. Now, when it comes to your feelings, your emotions, would you say that, well, how could I word this? Okay, so when you are upset or sad or anxious, do they feel too, like it has way too much volume for you to handle? You don't know how to handle these emotions, or it's so much that it feels like a mixture of multiple emotions at once in very high intensity? Yeah. Okay. Okay, tell me more. Tell me a bit more about that. Okay. Now, next question. Do you find that you do things on impulse and you may regret it very shortly after? It could be purchases, it could be maybe when you're upset, maybe say something to someone, thoughts, actions, just on impulse, and it has to come with a feeling of regret after. Okay. Would that be like an all the time thing, or? Okay. Alrighty, next batch of questions for you today. All right, so you ever have trouble concentrating or focusing on tasks? Okay, and how long would you say you have? Like, maybe 10 minutes until you get distracted, or 5 or 30 or no? All right, and what's the frequency? Does this happen every 10 minutes, every time you do homework, or every time you do like a chore or something like that, rather than like maybe watch a show or video games? Or Okay, now did this affect you in school growing up, and does it affect you now? Maybe you forget lessons easily because you may not have been paying attention, or you get distracted, or at your job now, school, anything like that. Okay. Now, are you a very distractible person? Like, in general, let's say you're having a conversation with someone, and maybe you need to fidget with something to pay attention, or maybe you get distracted by a song or anything that comes into your head, rather than just, full presence. Okay. Are you an organized person or disorganized? And that could be in specifics. It could be organized at school, disorganized at home, vice versa. All right. So do you have a system for this? Okay. All right. Do you have any significant problems with sleep, or sleep versus staying awake? Like, are there any? All right. I forgot to ask that one. I'm sorry. All right, so allow me to share what I have with you today on your intake. So these are not your official results. We need to, check them, cross-reference with your therapist, and we'll call you back in a matter of 3 days with your final results, because these are all from the DSM-5. The DSM-5 is what we use to diagnose our patients with, mental illnesses or disorders, things like that. And it helps us figure out what medication to run by them and what steps to take in your guide workbook with your therapist. Any questions or concerns? Okay. So, here's what I got. Now, it seems like there is a few things going on. Not to worry. That's why we're here. So, are you familiar with personality disorders? Cluster A, Cluster B, Cluster C? Okay. Now, have you heard of borderline personality disorder or bipolar disorder? Okay. So, based on your results here, and your previous notes from your therapist that they sent over to me, we have you at a series of traits from multiple different things, and this is what our final final diagnosis will come down to. So one is, on the other hand, we have a series of traits from the DSM-5 that list you under borderline personality disorder, as well as ADHD. Another note, it's very similar to having CPTSD, complex PTSD, or ASD, which is autistic or autism spectrum disorder. Any of these sounds familiar to you? Have you ever heard of any of these before? Okay. So the reason why I ask you these questions today, and I'm going to speak a little bit more with your therapist, is to, narrow it down, and we're going to see where we have you at. We may send you one more test for these specific diagnoses, and based on your results, I think we'll have a better idea of where you're at, and we can move forward from there. And I think that's what we're gonna do. So you'll hear from us in roughly 3 days. And do you need any notes, by the way, like any doctor work notes? Okay, well, we'll write you up one for 2 days. Okay, you could take this, and that's for your notes. Now, are there any questions or concerns for me at the moment? Okay. So with that being said, thank you for coming to your evaluation. If there's anything we can help you with, just let us know. You have our phone numbers, correct? Or, yeah, okay. Yes, my number should be on your sheet as well, because I am your primary psychiatrist. And if there's anything you need at all, let us know, and we'll make sure we do everything we can to take care of you, to assist you with anything you're dealing with. Sound good? Alrighty. Thank you for coming in. I'll see you next time, and feel free to take one of the treats on your way. Alright. See you later.